Part 366. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 3651. As Kathy spoke, she gradually approached Fang Fan. A strong fragrant wind gathered again, giving people endless reverie. For a while, I didn't know what to say. At the moment, the whole person became ecstatic. This taste was slowly felt, and Fang Fan smelled something different. Cooperate. Fang Fan emphatically emphasized one sentence. According to normal people's thinking, if they encounter spies from other cities, they will definitely be wiped out immediately. But this Castellan's wife, Kathy, is completely different. He didn't choose to kill it at the first time. Instead he said so much nonsense. Now it is emphasized that there is still the possibility of cooperation. This wave seems to be quite interesting. Fang Fan narrowed his eyes and suddenly thought of some possibilities. Could it be that the wife of the city lord, Kathy, is the real spy? If so, it would be interesting. Unexpectedly, by accident, some secrets were discovered. How? It's already at this time. Do you still want to pretend to be deaf and dumb with me? That's meaningless. It's all said and done, you know it in your heart. Kathy, the 17th Lady of God Clan Tianlin City narrowed her eyes, then smiled indifferently. I don't know if my wife can go with me to a place. Let's have a good discussion. Fang Fan pondered for a while, and then began to play tricks. There is no need to pay too much attention to the other things that are there or not. Deep in my heart, I also need to silence some special thoughts. This time I have a lot of thoughts, and my eyes are flickering. Have a good discussion. What are you talking about? What conspiracy are you playing? Kathy licked her lips, a fierce gleam in her eyes. She was simply using Fang Fan alone first, and after using Fang Fan, she could kill her. It just happened to be delivered to the door. Madam is such a powerful existence, is she still afraid of me? Madam is so beautiful. Fang Fan murmured to himself, and then said these words involuntarily. At this moment, the eyes have been completely blurred. This woman is invincible in charm. Under normal circumstances, Fang Fan is indeed somewhat difficult to control. Now the only way is to quickly enter the small world of Shushan Pavilion. Only in this way can we free ourselves from this bondage. But he can't leave Bai Piao outside alone, that would be too dangerous. At a time like this, the whole body and mind must gather together through gritted teeth, and the whole person sinks into it and cannot extricate themselves. Then bring this Kathy into the small world of Shushan Pavilion together. Seeing Fang Fan's obsessed with beauty, Kathy showed a satisfied look on her face. She felt that she was already infatuated with Fang Fan, and she was safe from now on. So, where are you taking me? You said. If you don't speak, people will be sad. Say, go on. It will benefit you. Kathy silently tore the tool off her left shoulder. Immediately, a white skin flashed in front of Fang Fan's eyes. Natural charm. A little stronger. Fortunately, Fang Fan is well informed and can still maintain a minimum level of calm at this moment. If you relax your body and mind a little, I am afraid that the whole person will be fully immersed. This kind of thing can't happen to me anyway. Fang Fan's eyes flickered in front of him. Good. I'll take my wife, to find the baby, to find the secret. I have the secret of the true God and share it with my wife. Madam, let's go together. Fang Fan completely let go of himself now. In order to be able to dress up a little more, I couldn't help but jump directly on this Kathy at this moment. The image and so on are naturally gone. Without mental control, in fact, many of Fang Fan's behaviors and actions are acting in his true colors, so naturally there are no surprises at all. Kathy narrowed her eyes, and there was a different kind of brilliance in her eyes. I didn't expect that such a good thing happened to me. Before this, I really never thought of it. But what is good is always a good thing. This time, the smiles on the corners of the mouth gathered in an all-round way, and the waves took off directly. True God's secret? What is that? At this moment, Kathy naturally does not believe that Fang Fan can plot any conspiracy against her. For a while, Fang Fan didn't care about being hugged and touched all the time. She only has treasures in her eyes. Fang Fan narrowed his eyes slightly, and the cunning in his eyes was fleeting. True God space. Open. 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 Fang Fan pretended to start talking, and then opened the passage to the small world of Shushan Pavilion, and then prepared to bring Kathy in together. It doesn't matter at all now, as long as you enter the small world of Shushan Pavilion, everything will be fully stabilized. How to deal with it at that time will not be a problem, it is not a big problem. Take off directly. This wave, steady. The situation is under control. What power? Kathy frowned, and suddenly became alert for a while, and she couldn't help frowning at this moment. Her expression changed very wonderfully. Subconsciously, she felt something was wrong. Looking at it, it is indeed a far cry. Do you have to let go of your own consciousness to enter it? Will there be any danger inside? I always feel there is something tricky in it. Tell me, is there any danger here? Are you kidding me on purpose? What did you say? Kathy twisted her hot body, and then rubbed against Fang Fan's body, as if she wanted to use this method to further control Fang Fan by means of seduction. The corner of Fang Fan's mouth twitched. This woman really has a brain. This brain is getting better every time. Fang Fan let out a foul breath, and at this moment his brain couldn't help shaking. The problem here is really not small. What to do next is the most important thing. Why can't we just watch so numbly? Don't care about anything? This is not in line with common sense. For a moment, the whole person became numb. Thoughts are myriad, expressions are unpredictable. The sense of bells and whistles has been strengthened in an all-round way. Nothing. In the outside world, he is just an ordinary cultivator in the holy realm. What can he do in the face of the charm of a weak demigod? At this moment, Fang Fan even felt that his willpower was about to collapse completely. To the treasure. I want you. To the treasure. I want you again. All the treasures are for you. Holding the tip of his tongue, Fang Fan tried his best to mutter to himself. Anyway, now he wants to control his whole body and mind, and there must be no further deviation. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 3652. I can't afford to be hurt, I really can't afford to be hurt. It is indeed a bit difficult. Are you going to give me treasures to please me? And take possession of my body? Kathy's face showed a look of disgust at first, but gradually a trace of joy appeared. From this point of view, the man in front of him is indeed under his control. After getting the treasure, this kind of dog man should be castrated first and then killed. But now it is confirmed that the dog man in front of him has indeed been confused by himself. In this way, what he said is naturally true. A man's mouth, a deceitful ghost. But under the stimulation of her endless charm, no matter whether you are Lu Ziyi or the Supreme Buddhas, you can't stand it. Kathy had a thought, and then gradually let go of her consciousness. Immediately following a flicker in front of my eyes, the world at the moment has become a little different. Where is this? Am I not in the city lord's mansion? This place I have never been to. Is this still another world? You actually have your own little world. Isn't it said that this is only the true God? How could you? Adventure. You must have had a great adventure. In this way, if this is the case, then I understand instantly. Huh, so that's what happened. Quickly give me the control of this small world, give me the control of the small world, and I will be able to satisfy your unreasonable demands. Come on. The delicate voice sounded, and the surrounding space couldn't help trembling. For a moment, there seemed to be a lot of urgency. All of a sudden, I have a lot of thoughts. Kathy's eyes lit up, and she almost started dancing with excitement. At this moment, in front of Fang Fan, he is just pretending. Pretentious gestures, all-round seduction. If it was outside, Fang Fan might be even more miserable. But inside, that doesn't really matter much. Take a quick glance, that's it. I even feel extra calm in my heart, so that's it. What did you say? Give it to me. Are you so impatient now? A wicked smile appeared on the corner of Fang Fan's mouth, and then he stretched out his hand to hold Kathy's chin, and smiled frivolously, gradually getting into place. Ah! You, pretending. Are you so scheming? You've been lying to me for so long. You wanna die? Kathy's beautiful eyes widened, as if she had been tricked by a scumbag. And Fang Fan is that scumbag. It can't be considered a disguise. When I was outside, Mrs. Kathy's coquettish tricks were indeed very successful. It was really difficult for me to control myself. It's just that once you're inside, this little charm won't work. You have to come up with some real materials. Fang Fan narrowed his eyes, and the corners of his mouth smiled even worse. Ah! You, what are you doing? Who are you? Who the hell are you? You nasty bastard. I should be the one asking you this question. You've been emphasizing my identity. Your identity shouldn't be simple, right? Go has your purpose in being the 17th lady in Tianlin City's Lord's Mansion, right? Hee. Since everyone's half a catty is right, what else can you say? What's the matter, just make it clear. Tell me carefully, why are you lurking here? Fang Fan narrowed his eyes, and then pinched Kathy's jaw. I don't know. What lurks? I am the 17th lady of the City Lord's Mansion. Snort. You'd better let me go. Otherwise, the Lord City Lord won't let you go. I knew a long time ago that you were sent by another city. Snort. Fancy show and shameless. I've already seen it. Let me go, you still have a chance, otherwise you will die. Kathy now came to her senses, stubbornly refusing to reveal it. For a moment, the situation seemed to freeze. This. Don't talk about weird. I want to have a good talk with you, do you have to be so uncooperative? If this is the case, then play with the hammer. Aren't you afraid of death? I want to kill you now, it's easy. Fang Fan spoke expressionlessly, and then showed the most indifferent gaze. Hee. I'm going to die. Absurd. You'd better take care of yourself first. Because of my charm poison, I don't even know it. Do you really think my charm is so easy to untie? Brother Chiang, undoing it will only make your body more painful. You chose this path yourself, no one else can blame you. Since you insist on doing this yourself, you can only bear it alone. Kathy squinted her eyes, and then her face revealed an excited expression. While speaking, her thoughts rushed all over. The more you watch, the more interesting it becomes. This wave, take off. Fang Fan frowned, inexplicably feeling a little dry. At this moment, some beautiful pictures will appear in my mind. What the hell? Poison. Fang Fan pouted, first dismissively. Can this thing still disturb him? Is it a bit too bullshit? Listening to this, it feels gimmicky. In this Shushan Pavilion world, he is the supreme king. Who can compete with it? Nothing. This time the thoughts are in place, and the thoughts rush to the sea and never return. Clear. Fang Fan's mind moved slightly, but it didn't have much effect. Ha 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 ha. I told you earlier, this poison cannot be cured. If you say it's poison, it's poison. If you say it is not poisonous, it is not poisonous. This is the charm of me adieu. Aren't you going to let me go? I tell you, only I can detoxify you. If not, it only takes 1 day and 1 night, and your skin will fester and die. Kathy was shaking with excitement. This guy is definitely doing it again. So I couldn't help but cheer up. Fang Fan opened his mouth, his face was numb at the moment. Just now he praised this woman for her intelligence. Now why is this brain so funny again? Now that he has become a prisoner, what kind of intrigue is there? You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 3653. Isn't this the only way to detoxify poison in the world? As long as the yin and yang harmony is in place, is there any enchanting poison that cannot be cured? At first, I thought you were dirty, and I was too lazy to talk about it. At present, it's okay to barely use it as a detoxification tool. Fang Fan shrugged, then calmly pulled Kathy over. Kathy was stunned for a moment. She stared numbly at everything in front of her, her lips were frantically muttering, trying to say something, many words were concentrated in her heart, and she couldn't speak at all. At the moment, I can only tremble my lips, but I don't know how to express the true artistic conception in my heart. Is this shooting yourself in the foot? I thought I had caught a trump card, but now it seems that this is clearly a ghost card. I see AO. No, do not want. I was wrong. I really know I was wrong. Please don't do this. I shouldn't have treated you that way. Whatever you want to know, I will tell you. May poison, I can also cure you of me poison. Please don't treat me like this. While speaking, his complexion became pale as paper. This time, it seemed that he could foresee his tragic fate, and he really didn't know how to express it for a while. With indifference on the spot, he could only curl up his body and mind, speechless. Many tastes gradually became bitter. It's a little tricky. Who can I tell this kind of feeling? Fang Fan didn't believe a word of what Kathy said. First. How come you said this once? The charm has been practiced like this. And isn't your identity the 17th Lady of Tianlin City's Lord's Mansion? All aspects of this are in place, and you still have to follow me around. Do you really think everyone is an idiot? Fang Fan didn't have much other feelings at the moment, he just wanted to get rid of this messy obsession quickly, so as not to have any further deviations later. At this time, there must be no more surprises. 1 hour. 2 hours. 5 hours. May poison was slowly cleaned up. Fang Fan let out a foul breath, with a satisfied look on his face. Regardless of other things, in fact, this Kathy can be considered a top-notch. It would be a pity if it was simply used for detoxification. Are you human? You won't be in the shape of a monster, will you? How can a normal person be like you? Too crazy. You're not human at all. You are a monster, you are a demon god, you are a beast. Kathy bit her red lip and couldn't help growling from the sidelines. Fang Fan. Can you talk a little more about what you said? I can't understand any of these. Fang Fan pouted, speechless. That's it? Nothing more to say. The poisonous poison was gradually cleaned up, but Fang Fan felt a little bit reluctant to leave. It just so happened that I was under a lot of mental pressure recently, so I played it casually. Dozens of hours have passed in the small world of Shushan Pavilion, and a few hours have passed in the big world outside. At this moment, Bai Piao, who was in Tianlin City's Lord's mansion, was exhausted physically and mentally. A dozen guards around him kept staring at him. He ran and couldn't run, and he couldn't talk. Looking at the gleaming weapon, he was really afraid that if he accidentally chopped off his head. Who can tell that kind of taste? Fang Fan boy. You're cheating. Being with your kid, nothing good will happen. Why? It's not a crime to cheat. Wait until the envoy of this god is cheated to death, you kid will cry. Oh shit. Is it necessary for you and the wife of the city lord to stay inside for several hours? Grass. A few hours, everything should be over, right? What are you dawdling about? Cao. Fang Fan boy, if you let me know that you enjoy soft jade and fragrance inside, and I suffer outside, I will break up with you. I'm so miserable. Bai Piao gritted his teeth. At the moment he had a look of lovelessness. The more and more thoughts in my heart, the more trembling my brain became. With a myriad of thoughts and sudden expressions, the whole person became a little swayed. There are thousands of thoughts, let alone talk to someone. Disaster. Difficult to go to the blue sky. I don't know how long this miserable state will last. Bai Piao now feels hopeless to go. So difficult. And at this time, Fang Fan really took off in the small world of Shushan Pavilion. After more than 20 hours of fighting, the 17th wife of the Lord of Tianlin City finally couldn't take it anymore. And Fang Fan hastily ended the battle. Can you stop torturing me? I really can't do it. If this continues, I will die. You're about to drain all the charm power from me. You are my nemesis. Woo 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 woo. Why did you let me meet you? You are an extremely terrifying existence. I'm crazy, I'm totally crazy. Kathy said with a numb face, tears were about to flow dry at this moment. Fang Fan raised his eyebrows, heaved a sigh of relief, and lay down beside him. He looked at the bloodshots gathered on the ground, and was stunned for a moment. You are hurt. Isn't it? You started out practicing charm, can't you bear this? Can this hurt? Don't lie to me, do you think I will be fooled? Are you underestimating me? This little routine, I understand instantly. Fang Fan raised his eyebrows, while talking, then said with emotion from the side. Who was injured? Then, what kind of blood is that, don't you know? Scumbag. It's you. It's all you. I've told you so many times. It's my first time. Why are you still doing this to me? Woo 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 woo. I left a psychological shadow. You are not alone. You are a beast. Kathy burst into tears, and then frantically complained from the side. The more she talked, the more excited she became, and the more she talked, the more sparkle in her beautiful eyes. Fang Fan took a deep breath and could only cover up his embarrassment with a cough. Damn it, the ghost knows that there is such a tortuous process in it. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 3654. Forward. Your charm skills are so superb. How can that be possible? It's not in line with common sense. Fang Fan took it for granted. This is indeed a bit different from the normal rhythm. I think it has a strong dramatic effect. Thinking is a bit confusing. Words are even more biased. Whoever told you that a woman who is good at seductiveness must be in chaos? The essence of flattery is flattery without vulgarity. And if it's always vulgar, How can you practice charm? Kathy bit her red lip and said firmly. Cough. Is that so? Learned. Then you are still the 17th wife of the Lord of Tianlin City. Since it's his wife. For it. It's logical. Fang Fan shrugged and said calmly. This is more in line with the normal mode of thinking, and it is not Fang Fan's nonsense. Ah. That day, Linkhung City Lord suffered some special injuries in the early years, so he died long ago. It's just to take care of my face, and I'm still frantically marrying myself a new wife. But in fact, it doesn't have that ability at all. Humph. Retribution. This is his retribution. Kathy gritted her teeth and said with a relaxed face. Snort. Actually speaking, when he came back to marry me, I cuckolded him, which was also a kind of revenge for him. Good. Very good. Kathy nodded excitedly, then said proudly. Fang Fan opened his mouth, his expression became more complicated now. Isn't it a little bad for us to do this? I am getting more and more confused. Cuckold. Revenge. These secrets are somewhat complicated. What kind of enmity is there between you and the Lord of Tianlin City? As for what? Could it be that you came to be the 17th lady of the city lord's mansion for revenge? Fang Fan narrowed his eyes, and then said rather strangely. Kathy remained silent and did not speak. It seems that this matter has touched some secrets. Fang Fan turned around and took Kathy into his arms. How can you be such a beast? Kathy is on the verge of crying. Can you let her have a little fantasy? Oh. If you chat with me more, you will naturally be distracted. As long as my thoughts are slowly dispersed, other things will be easy to talk about. So, there's no need to say anything more now, just hold on. Fang Fan looked down at Kathy in his arms, and then said seriously. You are nothing. Threatening me with this. I've been completely manipulated by you. Yes. I do have an enmity with Cassius, the Lord of Tianlin City. Snort. I was originally the princess of a nearby city named Syracuse. Cassius, the Lord of Tianlin City, came here to provoke me several times because he fell in love with the resources of my snow city, and even used despicable means to kill my father and brother. It was he who ruined my family. Of course I can't make him feel better. I want revenge. Revenge. I have been cultivating painstakingly all these years, and I have suffered all kinds of hardships. I thought I would have the opportunity to assassinate Cassius, the city lord of Tianlin City, by marrying into the city lord's mansion with my means. I didn't expect this bastard to be a waste, so I have no interest in women. I haven't been able to find a chance to do it. I noticed something was wrong with you today. I thought you were from the surrounding upper city Huangji City or Disha City. I thought that I could join hands with you to kill Cassius. Hey, after all, I still think it's too good. I didn't expect that I would end up in your hands. Heh, he. It's really ridiculous. Kathy shook her head, and then a look of sadness appeared on her face. The more I thought about it this time, the more confused my mind became. A mess of feelings gathered in my heart, and my whole body gradually became numb. The more I think about it, the more depressed I feel. Fang Fan frowned and listened from the side. Didn't expect this layer of involvement. It sounds like it's quite interesting. Uptown? Midtown? There is still a classification for this city. Fang Fan twitched his eyebrows and said curiously. Aren't you a Protoss? Who are you? Kathy's complexion changed, and then she immediately stared at Fang Fandeo vigilantly. It is impossible for normal Protoss people not to know the city level of the Protoss. Hearing Kathy's question, Fang Fan couldn't help touching his nose. Good guy, this woman's sensitivity is far beyond his imagination. Fang Fan just started, and she caught the key information. It's quite interesting here. It's interesting, Let's tell who. Mess. I said that I am the true God, do you believe it? Fang Fan couldn't help pinching Kathy's nose, and laughed. At this time, the atmosphere can relax a little bit. True God. Ah. You are so funny. Kathy rolled her eyes, and the desire to complain at the moment seemed very strong. How? Don't you believe it? If it's not a true God, where does the small world come from? If it weren't for that, I, an ordinary sanctuary, would be able to subdue you, a weak demigod. Are you really a true God? Kathy frowned, feeling a little uncertain now. No. Impossible. How could the true God do such a dirty thing? Snored. Impossible. Kathy gritted her silver teeth and said firmly. He. The so-called true God is actually nothing more than a stronger life form. Actually, it's far less noble than you think. You think too much, it doesn't make sense. Who said that the true God wouldn't do these things? Have you ever seen a true God? Or have you heard them say so? Fang Fan shrugged and said calmly. This. Kathy opened her mouth, and suddenly fell silent. It's like it sounds like that. Is it true that I think too much? Since you are a true God, can you help me kill Cassius? As long as you help me kill Cassius and avenge me, I will listen to you. Whatever you ask me to do, I will do. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 3655. Kathy licked her lips, her eyes flickered as she spoke, all kinds of thoughts gathered in her heart at this moment, and gradually, her thoughts expanded. This is where the bids begin. For a while it seemed to be in place. Cassius, the Lord of Tianlin City, what kind of realm does it exist? Fang Fan asked directly. Hearing Fang Fan's question, Kathy immediately saw hope. Fang Fan's reaction was different from normal people's. If a normal person hears that a city lord of the upper city will be killed, he will retreat immediately. But Fang Fan was completely indifferent. It shows that there is hope. Is the fire of revenge fully ignited? Peak demigod realm. Basically all the city lords of Shangcheng are in the top demigod realm. Since you are a true god, you must be indifferent to such a demigod. You only need a consciousness to kill it. You can. You really can. I believe in you. I hope for revenge. Real. God will not fail me. Kathy's face was flushed with excitement, and she became more and more excited as she spoke. At this moment, the whole person gradually became smug. That said, it's like that. It just sounds a bit haunting. That's the way it is said, but it doesn't sound serious. Absolutely demigod. One foot stepped into the realm of false gods. That's not the level I can understand. Can we not be so exciting? Fang Fan went numb for a moment. Farewell. I want to live a few more years. Fang Fan shrugged and refused directly. Confronting the supreme demigod. He's not out of his mind. I'm afraid they can crush him right after they meet, and Fang Fan may not even have a chance to escape by then. Stabilization is the only way to go. One wave destroys everything. The more you must be calmer at this time. After wandering, there is infinite silence. So. You lied to me. Are you a scumbag? Didn't you say that you are a true god? Kathy smashed Fang Fan's chest with her powder fist angrily, and couldn't help but roll her eyes at this moment, feeling very angry and flustered in her heart. Son of a bitch. How can it be like this? Hateful. Damn it. But after hitting her with the powder fist, Kathy couldn't help but put her little head on Fang Fan's chest and found a more comfortable position to lie down. It seems that she has gradually gotten used to this state. This How should I put it? It can't be considered cheating. Fang Fan opened his mouth, and then spoke ambiguously. Anyway, this kind of thing is not easy to say. He does have the virtual god of desolation, how can he be regarded as half of the god of God, right? But even if Fang Fan said it now, no one would believe it. Yes, yes, yes. You are a true god. Continue. Continue blowing. How did I meet such an enemy as you? Tell me honestly, where are you from? Are you a Protoss? How can it be possible that the people of the Protoss don't know the level division of the Protoss city? Are you a foreigner who appeared recently? It's not right either, the language barrier between those foreigners and our Protoss doesn't make sense. Why? What is the reason for this? Strange. What a wonderful look. Kathy asked curiously. Don't be so curious. Anyway, the temporary purpose between you and me is similar, both to fight against Tianlin City. Do you know where the warehouse in Tianlin City is? Fang Fan's heart is still thinking about this plan. The warehouse. What are you looking for? Kathy froze for a moment, becoming more and more curious. As long as you find the warehouse of Tianlin City and then loot it, it is also a blow to Tianlin City, isn't it? By the way, it can also take away a little bit of anger for you. Fang Fan nodded, and then spoke with confidence. It seems like this. However, in the warehouse of Tianlin City, there are several first-class generals and second-class generals guarding them, and the weakest ones are all weak demigods. If you go over now, you will be discovered in an instant. At that time, I'm afraid I will be killed before I enter. Kathy shrugged, then said calmly. Fang Fan opened his mouth, and sighed leisurely. This time he wanted to say something to refute, but in the end he chose to shut up. From a comprehensive point of view, this is indeed the truth, a group of real. Could it be that this time coming here will be in vain? It's not for nothing, I made thousands of godstone fragments by selling jewelry and clothes to repay blood. By the way, he also put a green hat on the Lord of Tianlin City, Cassius. You don't need to feel sorry. It's true that the warehouse in Tianlin City cannot be looted, but if you want to open the inner warehouse of Tianlin City's Lord's Mansion, there is absolutely no problem. As far as I know, there are only 2 quasi-demigod cultivators guarding it. On weekdays, very few people go there. As long as there's not too much noise, it's totally in time. Kathy licked her delicate red lips, and then followed up with suggestions. Fang Fan's eyes lit up. If you say that, I won't be sleepy. For Fang Fan, it was naturally impossible to give up any hope. The City Lord's Mansion, the internal treasury. This is okay. As a City Lord, one should not be too poor. It's just, why are you helping me? Just because I conquered you. Fang Fan grabbed Kathy's waist, and then couldn't help but silently exert force. Kathy was in pain, and her body couldn't help trembling. Because the previous trauma to the body was a bit serious, it was difficult to recover for a while. Kathy glared at Fang Fan resentfully, this guy is really too rough. This guy doesn't even know what it means to be sympathetic. At this moment, my mind is full of thoughts, and my eyes can't help but tremble. Anyway, all kinds of ideas slowly followed. What do you think? On the one hand, I also hope that the old thief Cassius will be annoyed. On the other hand, there is an elixir in the inner treasury of the City Lord's Mansion that I need. My body has some special wounds from taking the secret medicine for many years. Forid. That's the so-called erysipelas and drug poison. I have to clean up all these erysipelas and poisons. Otherwise, not only would I not be able to continue my cultivation, but the existence of these erysipelas and poisons might drag me into the abyss of death gradually. Hey, at the beginning, I was eager for quick success, so I didn't think so much in order to quickly improve my cultivation. It's useless to regret it now. Kathy sighed leisurely, her eyes trembling uncontrollably. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 3656. Erysipelas. Poison. Is that all? You said it earlier. I thought it was something. Fang Fan shrugged, then said indifferently. It just so happens that the daily series of products have reached the demigod level. A demigod level serum card can cure all toxins. For you. Take it for treatment. After you recover, remember to take me to loot the inner treasury of the city lord's mansion. If it succeeds, your benefits will be indispensable. Fang Fan shrugged, and then handed over the demigod level serum card. What? Just such an ordinary card, can heal, cure my erysipelas. Impossible. You still want to fool me. You really think you are a real god? Kathy rolled her eyes and couldn't help complaining. Try it, how will you know if you don't try? Perhaps, there may be some other effects. Well, how about a bet? Fang Fan glanced at Kathy's red lips, and couldn't help showing a wicked expression on his face. Interesting, really interesting. Ah. How to bet? You won't be insane, will you? You don't really think this stuff works, do you? I don't think you look like that kind of fool. You're not really a fool, are you? Kathy's puzzled eyes fell on Fang Fan, and when she spoke, her expression was very unique. Hee. Just wait and see the effect. If this card has an effect later, you unconditionally promise me a request. Fang Fan stroked Kathy's hair, then stared at her red lips, his gaze moved down slightly. At that time we can perform some actions that have not been done before. Fang Fan raised his eyebrows, and then silently reminded him. Kathy looked at Fang Fan with ignorant and innocent eyes, and after she understood what it meant, she blushed suddenly. Ah! Abnormal. Shameless. How can there be such a person? How did he say it? Are you not ashamed to say these words? What if it doesn't work? So what? Snort. You must be trying to scare me with this. Do you think I'm afraid? Humph. I'm not afraid. I want to see how you end up later. Kathy rolled her eyes, she thought she had already decided on Fang Fan. At least at this time, it seems particularly confident. Expressions and gestures, slowly in place. Oh. If it doesn't work, you can make a request at will. Anything you want. Even if it's another 300 rounds, it's okay. Fang Fan shrugged and said solemnly. Kathy. Dog man. Are there only those things left in the mind besides those things? Can't there be something else? Kathy gritted her teeth, her red lips moved slightly. If I win the bet, you will be my male slave in the future. Humph. I can torture you as much as I want. No problem. Go on, come on. Fang Fan stretched his waist, his eyes gradually raised, and the smile on the corner of his mouth gradually increased. It's so much fun. Interesting, really interesting. Snort. Laugh. Make you laugh. See if you can still smile later. Fight with me. You're still young. Kathy was triumphant, her eyebrows were fully raised as she spoke at this moment. Immediately, he put the demigod-level serum card delivered by Fang Fan in the palm of his hand. Then follow Fang Fan's prompts to start using. Whoosh. Immediately, a stream of pure energy flowed out from the serum card, and then entered Kathy's body. Is it really me? Is this really my body? Why, how does it feel so unreal? It's like it's all a dream. Dream, could this be a dream? Kathy murmured to herself, her lips were trembling at this moment, her red lips moved slightly, her breathing gradually became extremely rapid, all kinds of thoughts were gathering in her heart, and she didn't know how to express her thoughts at the moment. Now she can only focus all eyes on Fang Fan, she needs a reason to convince herself. Otherwise it would be too scary. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 3657. Don't stare at me like that. I told you a long time ago, this serum card can completely remove all the toxins from your body, including those erysipelas poisons. Isn't this routine? It's not so exciting. Hold on. It's not a big problem. Now it seems that I won the bet. Fang Fan licked his lips, then looked at Kathy's red lips, and said jokingly. Ah. I. Kathy's face turned red in an instant. At this moment, both hands were placed in front of her, twisting and twisting all the time, and she seemed very nervous anyway. How could she, who is smart, not know what Fang Fan meant by the bet? Kathy couldn't help looking down, her face was even more flushed now. This guy, so scary. I thought that this bet could turn the serfs into singing. Well now, this servility is getting deeper and deeper. In addition to the sense of humiliation, Kathy also had a different kind of excitement. You win if you win. Is there anything else you want? Kathy averted her eyes, and then said coquettishly aside. Tisk. According to the original bet. You. Are you so good at playing? Are you thinking about these things in your head? You are so perverted. Kathy's face was flushed, she was biting her red lips at this moment, and her heart was also throbbing violently. As she spoke, her breathing gradually became rapid. What does this have to do with being perverted? I simply followed the bet. We must have the spirit of contract, don't we? You can't just not care about anything. Fang Fan nodded, and then said in a serious manner, the smiles on the corners of his mouth gradually increased. Snort. Anyway, you are not a good person. But your card is really easy to use. So I'll satisfy you. Who told you to drain my erysipelas and poison? Now is simply to repay. Yes. It's repayment. Kathy took a deep breath, her beautiful eyes flickered, and she was full of thoughts, then she slightly opened her red lips, and silently lowered her head. Fang Fan felt that it was really necessary to have such a small world of Shushan Pavilion. How many good things are facilitated in this place? Fang Fan raised his eyebrows slightly, thinking to himself, the smile on the corner of his mouth increased. An hour later, Kathy looked at Fang Fan with resentment. Time began to pass bit by bit. Fortunately, this is the world of Shushan Pavilion. The internal time flow rate of Shushan Pavilion is 10 times that of the outside world. 10 hours have passed here, but only 1 hour has passed outside. But a lot of time has actually passed since Fang Fan brought Kathy into the small world of Shushan Pavilion. There must be dozens of hours. The big world outside has also passed for a few hours. After this kind of thing is condensed for a while, it is basically difficult to draw back the mental power from it. After a moment of enjoyment, it is understandable that some are hard to extricate themselves. Are you okay? Don't you want to steal the warehouse of the city lord's mansion? You still have to lead me the way. Fang Fan glanced at Kathy, and then couldn't help reminding. Kathy's current identity is the 17th Lady of the Santos Mansion, so she must be more familiar with the internal structure of the Santos Mansion than Fang Fan. Moreover, she is still a weak demigod. With her help, it would be much easier to loot the warehouse of the city lord's mansion. If possible, Fang Fan actually wants to loot the entire warehouse of Tianlin City. But according to what Kathy said, in the warehouse of Tianlin City, there are still first-class god generals who are strong demigods stationed. So, forget it for now. As far as Fang Fan's current strength is concerned, he really doesn't have enough capital to fight against a first-class general who is in the demigod realm. In other words, there is no level of battle between the two at all. It basically looks like it was tortured and killed. For it. In this case, it is natural to fully control it and not slack off in the slightest. The overall situation must be stabilized. With a lot of thoughts, the light in the eyes increased, and the smile on the corner of the mouth flickered all over. Ah! Racked the warehouse. Do you think I still have a little bit of strength now? Now it feels like my whole body has been cut. You are a demon. You are the devil sent by heaven to torture me. Kathy was crying, her heart had already collapsed with blood. Divine system of the strongest card supplier in the end times, Doomsday strongest card supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 3658. While speaking, the corners of Kathy's mouth twitched slightly. The more she thought about it, the messy her thoughts became. This guy, how dare he? How could he just do it like this? Terrible, so terrible. Now that my heart has already swelled in an all-round way, I don't know what to say. Thousands of thoughts, deep emotions, nothing. Play. Just play like this? Cough. This has nothing to do with me. The main reason is that my body is too strong. I don't want that either. Why are you still crying? Fang Fan was deeply moved. Even though he has thousands of reasons, he does have a little responsibility for this matter. Fang Fan looked at Kathy's face full of pear blossoms and rain, and couldn't help but take her into his arms and comfort her softly. I cried when I was doing it. Too difficult. By the way, Fang Fan slowly cleaned up the dirty liquid on Kathy's face. Women need to be coaxed. Kathy is no exception. Coaxing and coaxing is basically the same. After many words are fully in place, they can basically be stabilized. Everyone knows this feeling. After coaxing, go out of the small world of Shushan Pavilion and come to the real world, which is Kathy's bedroom. At this moment, Fang Fan remembered Bai Piao. You go and call my companion over. Fang Fan raised his eyebrows, and he didn't know if Bai Piao had grasped it. Come on. Bring people in. Kathy waved her hand, and then two maids walked in, followed by Bai Piao. At this moment, his eyes were bloodshot, his lips were trembling, his heart was anxious, and he appeared to be bleeding. His eyes were flickering, his thoughts were full of thoughts, and many words were stuck in his heart, but he didn't know how to express them. Difficult to reach the blue sky. The whole person, numb on the spot, is nothing. When Bai Piao saw Fang Fan's place, his teeth were chattering, and he wanted to growl, but he couldn't help it. Now is the chance. Hold on. Even if a heart has already exploded to the extreme. Then hold on. There must be no looseness. Swallowing saliva frantically, his body trembled frantically, bloodshot eyes became more and more bloodshot. Want to cry, but don't know how to cry. For it. Let your maid leave first. Fang Fan rubbed his brows, seeing Bai Piao like this, he could probably guess the many thoughts in this guy's mind at the moment. This wave is really difficult. Now that the matter has come to this, I have to face it with gritted teeth. Go down first. Kathy nodded. At the moment Fang Fan was obedient. When the maid left, Bai Piao was still trembling her lips, and still didn't dare to say more, because now Kathy was still here, and Bai Piao didn't know what happened between Kathy and Fang Fan. Especially this wave cannot be waved, as one wave destroys everything. Hold on to take off. Fine. Speak. It's all our own people. Fang Fan looked at Bai Piao, and then reminded him in common language. Bai Piao. You boy, are you not afraid of her suing? Bai Piao took a deep breath, her face trembling. Fine. I said it all, it's my own. While talking, Fang Fan immediately embraced Kathy in his arms, loving and affectionate wantonly. Bai Piao. Grass. I knew it. You kid is all this way. Are you going to use this routine to eat all over the world? Good guy, routines come and go, still routines. Several hours. Your kid doesn't come out to say hello to me. You kid doesn't even know how hard it is for me to stay here. I don't dare to say anything, and I dare not move. I'm afraid that if something goes wrong, the two of us will be taken together. Cooperating with your kid, you are still enjoying it here. Oh shit. This is not fair. A heart feeds the dog. CAO. I am drunk. That's not the case at all. I'm exhausting myself outside, and you're enjoying yourself inside. Fang Fan, you are not alone. Bai Piao talked more and more, while talking at the moment, he rolled his eyes crazily, and his heart trembled as he spoke. The whole person was numb on the spot. What else is there to say? After all, there is no truth. Now this guy looks a bit like a boudoir. The kind of resentful woman who has been abandoned for a long time. Fang Fan just watched from the side, and almost laughed out loud. The sense of this picture became more and more intense. What is he talking about? Why didn't I understand a word? Is this the language between you men? It's really, so weird. Sounds weird. The complaints gradually increased, and Kathy moaned and said with emotion from the side. Fine. Get ready, let's go loot the warehouse of the city lord's mansion. Fang Fan said the sentence in both the common language and the language of the Protoss. At this moment, he couldn't help but shook his head and sighed helplessly. The language barrier is too troublesome. Protoss and common languages will definitely communicate with each other in the future. Leave now. Boy Fang Fan, you even told her this. Good guy, have you conquered her to this point? Isn't she the 17th lady of the Lord of Tianlin City? As the wife of the city lord, or a member of the Protoss, is she obedient to you just because she was conquered by you? Fang Fan boy, you hunted geese all day long, but in the end you got pecked in the eye by a wild goose, right? Could it be that you can't see clearly this little routine? You can't be so confused. I think this woman has all kinds of charms, and she is not very reliable. Bai Piao's eyes widened, and she couldn't help but cast a glance at Kathy. The one who can be the lord of the 17th lady is naturally not a Rouge vulgar fan. Body, appearance, temperament, whatever you want. Why? Such a top product has become Fang Fan's pocket again. Bai Piao sighed deeply. Everyone is also a man, but the treatment is really different in thousands of ways. There are thousands of thoughts, and the feelings become more and more profound. The more I think about it, the more my brain hurts. Gradually, the whole person became numb. Don't worry, I've found out. She has a grudge against the Lord of Tianlin City. She used to be the princess of Sueshan, a medium-sized city in the Protoss. Later, Sueshan was destroyed, and her family was slaughtered by Cassius, the lord of Tianlin City. She entered the city lord's mansion just for revenge. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 3659. Fang Fan immediately talked about the past. Bai Piao blinked, then subconsciously nodded. The theoretical things of things are relatively clear. Sounds like it's okay. From a comprehensive point of view, there should be no deviation. I didn't expect the lady of the city lord to even tell you this. Fang Fan boy, what kind of tricks did you use? Your method is too strong. Where is the trick? You boy, tell me. Bai Biao rolled his eyeballs, took a deep breath at this moment, and said expectantly, his gaze involuntarily flickered as he spoke. This wave, the stimulation is gradually in place. Thousands of thoughts yearning. Take off. This has nothing to do with skills, it has to do with people. Fang Fan glanced at Bai Biao, then said seriously. Is it related to people? What's wrong with me? Isn't this normal for me? Bai Biao blinked, and when he spoke, his eyes flickered to the extreme. For a while, he was quite looking forward to it. You put away your wretched temperament first. Basically it's perfect. Fang Fan glanced at Bai Biao, this guy didn't know what was wrong, when he smiled, his whole face looked like a blooming chrysanthemum. Inexplicably, there is a unique aura of luxury and luxury permeating her body. Maybe it's a particularly special smell of copper? In fact, when I saw Bai Biao for the first time, all these things were fine, not to this point, but now it is becoming more and more unpredictable. A sense of bells and whistles, fully superimposed. Wretched. Cao. Boy Fang Fan, I learned this from you. You say this is obscene temperament. Then aren't you scolding yourself? Good guy, that's what happened. Understood, instantly understood. Is that the case? Take off. The voices of complaints gradually increased, and the more they talked, the more excited they became. Bai Biao is still very concerned about her own image. Okay, don't talk about these things, it's important. Get ready and go to sweep the warehouse of the city lord's mansion. When this vote is done, basically it's almost done, and then you can turn back. Fang Fan narrowed his eyes, then nodded. The most critical point in looting the warehouse is that Kathy. She is a local snake, she knows everything. I saw Kathy changed into a maid uniform at the back. What are you doing? Fang Fan didn't understand the intention for a while, and then asked. You're so dumb. If I drag the name of the 17th wife of the city lord, although it will be smooth, it will be too eye-catching. And in the end, the theft of the city lord's mansion's treasury will definitely be discovered. When the time comes to investigate and find me, won't I be finished? I haven't taken revenge yet. I don't want to expose myself now. If you put on a maid's uniform and then put on some makeup, basically it won't be a big problem. At that time, no matter how much you investigate, it will be difficult to detect me. At that time, I can still silently watch that old guy Cassius get frustrated. Kathy gritted her teeth, and she couldn't help showing a look of anticipation on her face as she spoke. This wave is very urgent. After finishing this ticket, you won't go with me. Even if you made a disguise, if someone with a heart pays attention to you, you are still very dangerous. Are you sure you want to stay here? I think you'd better think about. After all, this is not a trivial matter. It's quite embarrassing if it gets involved. It's safest to withdraw directly. Fang Fan glanced at Kathy and couldn't help reminding. To be honest, he and the 17th wife of the city owner, Kathy, have only known each other for dozens of hours. And basically spent in the bed. Familiarity is not familiarity, speaking unfamiliar words, but it must be better than ordinary people. Anyway, the relationship between them is quite complicated invisibly. But even if it's only a dewy marriage, it should be reminded. I can't go yet. I said, I haven't avenged my revenge yet, so I can't leave. I know you care about me, but it's really unnecessary now. Call. Don't worry, I have a measure in my heart. It's impossible for me to mess around. I know you are hostile to Tianlin City. It's definitely not possible for you to hit Tianlin City just once. In the future, you will continue to attack Tianlin City in all directions, and I can still provide you with some information inside. Kathy nodded, then said calmly. This matter is basically very clear, and this is probably the case. For it. Fang Fan didn't say much, just nodded indifferently. He has already been reminded of everything that should be reminded. If he doesn't obey, there's nothing he can do. Now that you have fulfilled your established responsibilities, that's fine. This wave, silently becoming silent, is quite good. That's it? Kathy, dressed as a maid, led the way, pretending to be leading Fang Fan and Bai Piao. In order to rule out the suspicion of Fang Fan and Bai Piao committing the crime, Fang Fan and Bai Piao first left the city lord's mansion, and then found another opportunity to enter it quietly. It is naturally impossible to sneak into the city lord's mansion quietly under normal circumstances. But if someone inside responded, there would be no problem. There is a saying that no matter how strong a fortress is, it is afraid of disintegrating from the inside. This time, the target is directed at the inner treasury of the city lord's mansion. On the road I was walking, I also ran into a few people who came to check. What are you doing? The front is still an important place for the internal treasury, can you dare to trespass? 7 or 8 guards of the city lord's mansion held Fang Fan and the others with sharp knives. At this moment, Kathy silently raised her head, showing her waist badge. Madam 17. It's you. Click. K-k-k-k-k-k. The sound of bones breaking immediately resounded, and the blood burst to the extreme. The blood was floating in the skull, and this state was displayed in front of my eyes for a while, and I felt my brain tremble inexplicably. I have a lot of thoughts, I want to say something, but it is difficult to express. It feels so special. There's a lot of bells and whistles. A wave of sweeping, nothing. Before Fang Fan could summon the golden armored puppets to come out to help, Kathy had already killed all the guards in front of him. A shot is a sure kill, without the slightest sloppiness. A woman who seemed tender broke out to be so powerful. Fang Fan wriggled his lips, his eyes flickered subconsciously. Fortunately, I brought this woman into the small world of Shushan Pavilion and conquered a wave from the very beginning, otherwise I really couldn't control her hot temper. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 3660. So strong. Fang Fan boy, you boy is so awesome. Only you kid dares to pick this kind of rose with thorns. Good guy. This combat power is at least a high-ranking saint, right? Bai Piao licked his lips and couldn't help sighing from the side. Weak demigod. Fang Fan said lightly. Bai Piao. What? What weak demigod? You, don't tell me that there are weak demigods here. What the hell am I? You don't mean that woman is a weak demigod? Grass. If she is weak and demigod, how did you conquer it? Good on. You kid doesn't do ordinary things. You kid is so awesome. Admire. Bai Piao's eyes widened, and at this moment, his whole body went numb. There is really no comparison between people. The gap between them is too great. There are 2 quasi-demigods inside. I killed a quasi-demigod directly in an instant, and although I can kill another one, but there will inevitably be some disturbances. What should I do? Call. It's a bit difficult. After Kathy handled the corpses of the guards, her complexion changed immediately, her eyes flickered involuntarily, thinking to herself, her brows furrowed silently. The situation still looks a little serious. I have a quasi-demigod guard. It can also come in handy at critical times. It's just that if there is a battle between quasi-demigods and quasi-demigods, there will definitely be some special movements. So we need to stabilize them first. For it, you still have to grasp your identity as the 17th lady. Fang Fan shrugged, then smiled, and said. Quasi-demigod realm guard. Where? Why did not I see him? Is he actually a quasi-demigod? Do not make jokes. Kathy glanced at Bai Piao, then couldn't help but rolled her eyes and said. This joke is not funny at all. On the contrary, it looks like the scalp is numb. This taste is indeed a bit over the top. You can't engage in these bells and whistles. No. Fang Fan groaned, then summoned the golden armored puppet, and after thinking about it, he summoned Nai Yan. Mainly Nai Yan's heavenly mystery and star apostle god apostle comes with battle control invincible magic skills. Battle control, activate the power of heavenly secrets, double the combat power of the designated target, and reduce the combat power of another designated target by half. The duration is 10 minutes, and the cooldown period is 3 days. When fighting, this is not a star and a half difference. The full burst is in place, which is extraordinarily exciting. For a while, she was yearning. As long as battle control can be played, the quasi-demigod level golden armored puppets will be doubled in combat power, and then half the combat power of the opponent's Protoss quasi-demigod powerhouses will be reduced, and the quasi-demigod level golden armored puppets will have a lot with great confidence, directly kill the opponent's Protoss quasi-demigod. At that time, if you want to act, it will be much simpler. Fang Fan squinted his eyes, thinking to himself, the brilliance in his eyes flickered all over. This wave of heart feels quite exciting. These two. Are you sure they can instantly control another quasi-demigod? If there is a slight deviation, we will all be finished. As long as there is any disturbance, it will not only be a problem of not being able to steal the inner treasury of the city lord's mansion. At that time, my life may be completely terminated. Once we let Cassius know that we are stealing his internal treasury, we will die. So we can only win this battle but not lose. Do you know what I mean? Hiss. Kathy clenched her fists, then took a deep breath, thinking to herself, the brilliance in her eyes flickered across the board. There are thousands of thoughts, and naturally there are more things to think about. Many thoughts gathered in his mind, and there was a different kind of brilliance in the depths of his eyes. Rest assured. As long as you can control the other demigod, it's not a big problem. Fang Fan shrugged and raised his eyebrows. At this moment, various thoughts in his mind are gradually accumulating, and Fang Fan is already planning for the next battle. Then what should I do? You guys made the atmosphere so tense, it's like I'm a waste. Why? Bai Piao licked his lips, and then couldn't help complaining. You just stay here. There's no need to do anything else. After the enemies in the inner vault are cleaned up, you should try your best to remove the treasures in the inner vault. You logistics officer, don't pull your hips when the time comes. Fang Fan glanced at Bai Piao, then he reminded him. Crotch pulling. How can it be? That's all. Humph. Leave it to me. Good guy, won't you just follow and take off? Boy Fang Fan, just wait and see. When the time comes, don't care how good the treasure is, I'll put it up for you. It's been so long since I've been out, I'm finally getting to the point. Call. After waiting for so long, I'm so anxious. Bai Piao's complexion gradually became ruddy, and the speaker's eyes flickered all over, and his teeth trembled slightly. The stimulation is in place, and the spiritual power is fully overflowing. Step by step. Don't dare to slack off. Everyone gradually went to. Kathy stood in front, making herself as calm as possible. It is more than words. Seeing that it is fully in place. At the same time, Fang Fan could clearly feel two sharp gazes sweeping towards him. I am the 17th lady of the city lord's mansion. The city lord asked me to enter the inner treasury to get the most precious Tianmu bead. Kathy straightened her body, and she looked calm and composed while speaking. Madam 17. In the past, didn't the Master Chief come to fetch treasures? Why is it Madam 17 this time? One of the quasi-demigod level Protoss guards frowned and couldn't help but speak. How? Are you feeling dissatisfied? Do you want to teach the city lord how to do things? Snort. Kathy snorted coldly, her momentum was already in place. No. Not, dare not. It just feels a little weird. The 17th Madam took out the letter or the token of the Lord of the city and gave it to us to have a look before letting the 17th Madam in. This is the rule. The quasi-demigod Protoss guard guarding the inner vault of the city lord's mansion said again. I know the rules. Just do you know the rules? Could it be possible that my wife will deliver the handbook to you in person? You are becoming more and more unruly now. It seems that we really need to talk to the Lord City Lord.